Hi, just waiting for people to catch up. I'm Mary Fenwick. I write the Agony art column for Psychologies magazine. It's always a funny little moment where, hi Rachel, apparently I've got Paul. Anyway, hello, welcome. I can see a few people saying hello, waving. Zaina, I'm Mary Fenwick. I write the Agony art column for Psychologies magazine. I am due here at 5:30 every Tuesday to do a weekly wisdom, and today has been one of those days and I'm just accepting it. I'm just going with it. So I haven't been managed to get on here till after 6 for a whole load of reasons that I'll no doubt unfold, and I'm currently sitting on the floor with my phone plugged in because of course my phone ran out of battery, and yeah, it's been one of those days. And actually having one of those days is what I wanted to talk about today, or what I'd been thinking about talking about, and I definitely want to talk about it now. So, how do we look after ourselves when we are clearly having one of those days? Hi Shelley. Just to introduce myself again to everybody, I'm Mary Fenwick. I write the Agony art column for Psychologies magazine, and that means that once a month I have the privilege of giving my thoughts and opinions and pointing people in a direction that might help for 3 letters that readers write into Psychologies magazine. So that happens once a month, and once a week I'm here usually at 5:30 on a Tuesday to answer your questions live. So really happy to do that tonight, but also to share stories, thoughts, experiences, and connect a few members of the international Psychologies magazine community. Psychologies magazine is the UK's best-selling mindful living and emotional, mindful living magazine, but also we care about the inner woman. If you're interested in getting a copy of Psychologies magazine sent to you at home, have a look in the bio for the link to the latest offers. Thank you, Zaina. I'm seeing the name Zaina Fouad 11, and the Free Your Spine method is saying hello. Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. As I say, this is normally 5:30 on a Tuesday, weekly wisdom with me, Mary Fenwick, and today it's been one darn thing after another. But I got stuck trying to pick up a rental car, couldn't get away, phone running out of battery, etc., rushing back to my house, plugging the phone in, sitting on the floor to do my quick Instagram live. And part of what I wanted to talk about was, how do you look after yourself when you are having one of those days? I'm wearing my glasses today to make sure I can read the stuff that I wanted to talk about, because on the theme of having, as it were, one of those days, I think that at the moment, and maybe for the next few weeks, those of us, Ma Dory is saying you made it with a big strong arm emoji, which does feel very appropriate. I think we are all going to be having a few more of what we might call one of those days over the next few weeks, and part of the reason for that is this idea about hitting the 6-month wall. Not sure who else might have heard about this idea, but Susie Walker, who's the editor-in-chief of Psychologies, shared a link over the weekend, and it was an article. In fact, it was first of all a Twitter thread last week by a Canadian professor, Professor Aisha Ahmed, and then she turned it into an article, and it's called How to Power Through the 6-Month Wall. and her career has been writing about crisis and disaster, basically. So she has been in a lot of disaster zones, and what she says is this might be her first pandemic, but it's not her first 6-month war. And she's talking about what we can all expect to experience over the next few weeks, probably, as we adjust to the fact that the pandemic is a marathon, not a sprint. And for me, this has come home to me in a number of ways over the last week. And I thought I'd talk about a few of the ways in which that's come home to me. I'd be interested if anybody else shares this perspective. Are you feeling depleted, exhausted, you've had enough, you want to run away? Or are you kind of getting this feeling of, I know how to deal with this business and it's going to be okay? Because I personally would love to be feeling like that, but I'm not quite at the moment. At the moment, I'm feeling as if it's all been going on for a long time, and yet new little mini disasters keep emerging. So for my children at the moment, one of them is at university in Leeds in the UK. They're under local lockdown. One is at university in Edinburgh in Scotland, and they're under even tougher restrictions. This is the Free Your Spine method, says comes and goes in waves. So important to have the tools to draw upon to keep the sanity alive. That is exactly what I'd love to talk about, and I would really like to know what your tools are. What are the tools that you do draw upon to keep your sanity when you're having at least one of these days, but maybe more than it. Maybe you are also experiencing this idea of the 6-month war. So for two of my children at university, it's pretty tough at the moment. My eldest, who has actually left university, but she's partway through qualifying as a lawyer, and the next stage of her qualifying as a lawyer is to do this thing called a training contract, and her training contract was due to start in September. It's just been put off till March. We all know that, I know, put it this way, that my children are incredibly lucky to have this opportunity to study, and that in the case of Polly, my eldest, it's amazing that she's got this this job that will happen in March. That's fantastic, and she has actually got a paralegal job at the moment that is going to carry on. I'm just reading. My tools are, the Free Your Spine method says, my tools are movement and helping others, being of service, so taking ourselves out of the monkey mind. Yeah, that's a great one, a really great one. Being of service to take ourselves out of the monkey mind. That's partly what has helped me today as well. I mean, it's part of what contributed to me having one of those days, but it's also what has helped me, that I'm due to start running my online group program, which is called Writing Back to Happiness, and I had been planning to start it this coming weekend on the 3rd of October, but there's been a kind of accumulation of little things that have made me think it wasn't quite right to start it. I wanted to postpone it by 2 or 3 weeks, which I have done. I'm now going to start on the 24th of October. But building up to that decision felt like a very big deal. And one of the things that supported me in making the decision to postpone it slightly was this idea of being of service. That I know the tools that I'm going to be sharing, which are about writing a journal, certain techniques every day, which are research-based, and they are proven to help your happiness. So I really want to share those tools, but I've got this feeling that just right now, like this week, is not the time to get people focused on that. It's almost like too much of a stretch to think about happiness just right now. And this is unusual for me to go with something that is a little bit vague. You know, I've just got this feeling it's not quite right, whereas usually I'm all about the evidence. So the fact that I read this article by an academic talking about the 6-month wall, in a way helped me. You know, I like to see some sort of evidence base. And what she's talking about is that it's a kind of recognised phenomenon. For example, with the army, that people who are doing a 6-month placement with the army, they can get through that. But if they're doing a 12 or an 18-month placement, they really have to break it up. So this idea of the 6-month wall for something that is really difficult, a crisis that continues. I'm just sort of playing with this idea at the moment, and in a way, I guess, looking for evidence, wanting to know what you are doing that is helping you to sustain you at the moment, when this whole disruption to what we have known and love, all of that disruption is turning into a marathon, not a sprint. Now, I've seen a couple of comments that looked really good, and I'm going to go back and read them out. So Latino Solo says, interesting hearing you mention 6-month wall. I haven't heard it before, and I've been feeling out of sorts. I'll teach dance tonight online, and I know I'll feel better afterwards. Well, that's so interesting, and I think the argument would be that you'll feel better for 2 reasons. One, just the joy of the dance, but also the teaching, the giving. The idea, as the Free Your Spine method was saying, the idea of being of service and how that gives us strength and energy as well. And I'm reading another comment, also been kickstarting a day with a walk in the local park and exposing oneself to the natural elements, very soothing. I've got a friend who is doing the cold water open air swimming. Well, it's not actively cold water, it's just cold water because it's a lake. But she's doing open air swimming, and that seems to be really helping her. And she was saying that she's planning to keep that up for as long as possible. In fact, a little thought has just popped into my mind about that. But today was the coldest day so far for doing open air swimming. So for those of you who are joining a little bit late, I'm Mary Fenwick. I'm not sure if it's visible, but I'm actually no, I won't. I can't. My phone is plugged in to charge. I am sitting on the floor because I normally do an Instagram live at 5:30 on a Tuesday afternoon. We call it Weekly Wisdom. But I have just had one of those days today where there was a lot going on during the day, and at the end of the day I needed to go and pick up a rental car because I'm taking my son up to, he's studying in Cambridge at 1-year masters, and I'm driving him up there tomorrow. We needed a slightly bigger car. Went to pick up the rental car late afternoon, and first of all the paperwork went a bit, was not being very cooperative, having to fill all that in online. But secondly, we'd driven there in my car, obviously, to pick up the rental car, and my car actually got blocked in. So, and I couldn't do my Instagram from the car park, which was another option because my phone was running out of battery. So I'm doing this evening's Instagram And if you're interested in getting a copy of it delivered direct to your door, check out the link in the bio for the latest